What's up, YouTube? Now, I'm sure you've heard the news. If not, you're hearing it now. The civil rights leader, one of the civil rights leaders that was moving with MLK back in the day and stuff like that, has sadly passed away at the age of 84. Now, I've gone over Gematria plenty of times on this channel before, so you should already know what I'm about to get into. This is another ritual by the numbers. I'm not gonna say too much and go into too much because I don't want to get hit with another misinformation community guidelines, bro. Because I already got struck on my channel. So I'm just gonna run through these numbers, right? And I'm just gonna ask some questions. It's a lot of coincidental numbers. That a lot of patterns. It's kind of weird. That's all I'm gonna say, and I'm just gonna run through the numbers. I have 2 channels added on this video. You can go check out their content. I'm sure they're going to have videos on this as well. But I'm going to show some of the numbers that a lot of weird patterns. That's all I'm gonna say. Just very strange. Maybe it's coincidence. But I'm gonna run through the numbers. I'm gonna show how this connects to a lot of deeper stuff when it comes to, Black History Month. Kind of strange how it's Black History Month. And some subliminal messages that are put out there by, allegedly the elites in charge, right? Who run this world, the Jesuits, right? And some of the secret messages they put out, even when it comes to Black history in this whole scenario. Now, you might be confused, but I'm going to just break this stuff down. Now, for starters, we see Jesse Jackson, right? He's died today, and it's 33 weeks from Jesse Jackson's birthday today. You can go through the numbers yourself. It is 33 weeks before his birthday. Now, why is that kind of interesting? Because Negroes is 33 in the reduction cipher. Kind of strange, but let's keep looking at this. Also, Negroes is 84, and he is dead at 84 today. That's very interesting. Now, like I said, the Jesuits who run the show, Jesuit also equals 84. They're the ones that are allegedly doing these rituals, right? Now, February, which is Black History Month, kind of interesting. Just to note, February is 42 in Gematria, which is Black History Month. And the hard R is 42. Interesting, right? Just coincidence, maybe. But February, I spelled that wrong. February is 48. Now, why is that important? Because the inverse of 48 is 84, just like Jesse Jackson is dead at 84 today. Also, it is February 17th, right? It's February 17th. That's the day. You write out February 17th. What does February 17th come out to in Gematria? 233. Why is that important? Because from today to the day of Jesse Jackson's birthday, which is October 8th, is 233 days. Maybe that's just a coincidence, right? But anyway, let's continue. Negro, he died in Chicago, right? This is where he died at. Now, in this cipher right here, which is called the Standard Cipher, this cipher is whoever made this website, he called it Standard, but this is the English Misbar Gadol cipher, right? A Hebrew Gematria cipher. And in that cipher, Negroes is 312. Now, one of the area codes of Chicago is 312. So that's very interesting in Black History Month. Jesse Jackson dies in Chicago. I already showed you the connections with Negroes, with the being 32 weeks before his birthday. And you see that Negroes is 312 and he died in Chicago. Chicago was very significant for a lot of reasons, but I'm not going to get too much into that. But it's also, Negroes also equals 30 in reverse reduction cipher. and it is 30 weeks before the Pope's birthday, who's from Chicago. Just something else that's interesting. And it's 200. That would be 210 days before the Pope's birthday, and 210 is a 20th triangular number. And today it has a numerology of 20 date numerology. Very interesting. Also, like I was saying earlier about them showing Black history, subliminally showing secret messages when it comes to Black history on Black History Month, they do this a lot. In the Francis Bacon cipher, which is this one right here, capitals mixed, Israelites equals 233. And as I already just showed earlier, that February 17th equals 233. And that's it's 233 days before Jesse Jackson's birthday. And Israelites is 233. Like I said, the elites like to drop secret history when it comes to that, because, on Black History Month, because the real Israelites of the Bible are the so-called Negroes, so-called Black Americans. Also, on that Israelite stuff, the Israelites equals 60 in reduction cipher. 60 is 84. Remember, Jesse Jackson's dead at 84 today. 84 is the 60th composite number, right? So you have him dead at 84. 84 is the 60th composite number, and the Israelites is 60 in gematria. Just another thing showing you about, like I said, who the Israelites are. Oh, and I almost forgot to show this. The Israelites is also 84, just like he's dead at 84 today. So there's that as well. Also, what else was it? I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah. It's 33 days after Martin Luther King's birthday. I already showed you that Negroes is 33. And then also, back on the Israelites, because like I said, Black History Month, they like to show subliminally a lot of true history in the media, a lot of their rituals. They do this. Israelites in gematria is 45, and it is 4 weeks and 5 days after MLK's birthday, right? So Israelites 45, 4 weeks and 5 days after MLK's birthday. Also, it's 132 days after Jesse Jackson's birthday, from October 8th to today. It's 132 days after his birthday. Like I said, it's the Jesuits who run the show. Catholic Church equals 132. Also, they said he died from a neurological disease, right? Neurological 132. And neurological is also 60, just like I showed earlier. The Israelites equal 60. And they also said that the disease was specifically called supranuclear palsy. And supranuclear palsy, as you can see, equals 233 in gematria. Like I said, how it's 233 days before Jesse Jackson's birthday. And the Israelites in the Francis Bacon cipher, or Israelites, just the word Israelites in the Francis Bacon cipher, which is capitals mixed, equals 233. Once again, showing how they show subliminally true history when it comes to who's the real Israelites. Now, that's all I got, really. I mean, there's a lot more shit that I could probably. I'm not really entirely done looking deeper, because there's a lot more stuff I'm sure to look into when it comes to this. But this is all the stuff I have right now. I'm sure there's a lot more. If somebody has any more information, they can put it in the comments. But yeah, this is just another ritual, right? Another one of the rituals that the Jesuit order does. And a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people do not understand what's really taking place when it comes to these celebrity deaths and these activists and certain people like that on the world stage. Sometimes I wonder if they even are actually, dead when they say that, or is it just, they just come out and say, oh, they're dead on this day, whoop-de-whoop, by the numbers. Sometimes I wonder if they're even dead sometimes, Makes me think sometimes. But regardless of whether they're actually gone or not, we see the rituals that play out in the way they do. And this happens time and time again with so many celebrity deaths. There's all these numbers, these patterns, right? Which many would say a coincidence, which many of the trolls who like to stalk Zach's channel will like to discredit this work and say it's all coincidence. We're making the numbers match. We've heard all this shit on time and time again, right? We've heard this shit time and time again. Now, like I said, that's pretty much really all I got for this video. I don't got much else to say. I am going to probably upload another video today, but it's not going to be on any gematria shit. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I think I'm going to have another topic later on today, so I might upload another video. But yeah, bro, just another ritual by the numbers. Jesse Jackson, dead at 84. And I think, yeah, isn't it the 40th day of the year? The inverse of that, 84. Yeah, dead at 84 on the 40th day of the year, inverse of that, 84. And yeah, bro, 233 days before his birthday, February 17th, comes out to 233. What are the odds of that, right? Just one of the things I've shown, right? What are the odds of that? Very coincidental. Very coincidental. But remember, we making the numbers match. And then also supranuclear palsy, which is what they say he died from, 233, which is 233 days before his birthday. What are the odds of that? What are the odds? But the trolls, they're going to say, you know, the gematria has been the book. Gematria has been the book. You guys, it's not the Jesuits. It's the Jews. Let me talk about that Jew stuff real quick before I get off. Because I just love how every time, not only do they want to discredit gematria, the trolls of like Zach's channel or anyone who does this work, King Richard, whatever, they love to come in and try to discredit the work, screaming about the Jews. I've said this before in past videos, but the whole thing with the Jews is very simple. Why they, like, a lot of these guys want to blame the Jews. Because a lot of these dudes that stock Zach, a lot of these dudes that stock most likely even King Richard, a lot of these dudes that want to say it's the Jews, they're Nazis, right? They're Nazis. I've said this time and time again. Even on the video I did on Andrew Wilson when he had his debate with Zach. These guys, they want to blame everything on the Jews because their ideology is rooted in the Nazi shit. And their entire existence is based upon their white supremacist ideology and is based upon trying to dehumanize other groups, specifically mainly black people. This is how these savages have been programmed in this society, in this world. So the Nazi psyop, because that was all a whole psyop. Hitler was the mustache man was a Jesuit puppet, right? I'm not gonna get too much into that in this video, but he was a Jesuit puppet. And their whole ideology is literally a psyop. That's what's hilarious about it. But this is what they need to cope with their existence. Whatever's up with a lot of these dudes, they need to cope with that ideology. They need to cope with the white supremacist ideology. So in order to maintain their cope, they must try to debunk anything that's outside of that. They like to troll Zach shit. They like to call him a Jew. I've seen them say he's a Jew and shit. I mean, anybody that disagrees with them, they call him a Jew. Just notice that. Anyone they disagree with, they call you a Jew. They call you a Jew. They say you're working for Mossad or whatever. These people, they need to exist in this paradigm because this is how they cope with their existence. They need to feel better for some reason than the blacks and whoever else. They're down bad. So they don't, if it's the Jesuits and we understand it's the Roman Catholic Church who runs this shit, which we already exist in this world. These people are delusional. We know that white people run the world. They have the most power in the world. The so-called white people who are the Edomites of the Bible run this world. And they don't want to acknowledge that. So they have to say it's the Jews. They want to latch onto their Nazi ideology because if it's the Jesuits, all their ideology is gone. Everything that they run around doing is gone. If it's the Jesuits, the Roman Catholic Church, it's gone because we know the Romans are white. The Roman Catholic Church, white. These is the same people that love to venerate Rome and all that as a white civilization. So they're not going to They don't want to concede to this truth. They have to continue in their Nazi ideology. It's what they must do. So this is the real reason they want to ignore this work. That's really the real reason that they don't want to accept this truth. That's the real reason. And like I said, I've said this before, but this is the real reason, bro. This is the real reason they don't want to acknowledge this work. For some like your Andrew Wilsons and your Jim Bobs and shit, they're Nazis. They're Nazis. They're racist and they're Nazis. That's what they are. And it's funny because, right, like I said, I won't make the video too long, but I wanted to address that because anytime we talk about this work, man, and we address gematria, the Jesuits running shit, these people, man, with the little hat shit, they won't stop. But I'm telling you, this is why. I remember I went up on Zach's channel a while back, like maybe some weeks ago. I actually went up on his channel. I think it was probably, I don't know if it was my first time or my second time going up, but I went up on his channel and I was just, it was talking about something, I forgot. But I remember I was looking in the comment section, right? And while I was up there, I think I said that I'm an Israelite or whatnot and, you know, stuff like that, and how I've been knowing about gematria and all this work for a very long time since I've grown up an Israelite and understand that the Hebrew language is rooted in gematria and stuff like that. So I was saying all that, saying I'm an Israelite, and I look into the comment section and I see likely, of course, one of Zach's trolls in the comment section that love to hate watch him. Very weird watching somebody you hate. It's very strange just sitting there watching it. But he was hate watching. And when I said I was an Israelite, he commented, "We was kangs and shit." Now, if you don't know what that is, that's some racist meme these Nazis like to push, where anytime you talk about black history, black achievement, they scream, "We was kangs and shit." And I found that to be funny because it just shows, once again, connecting why they don't want to acknowledge this, the Jesuits, why they don't want to acknowledge this truth, because a lot of these people are Nazis. You have a clear Nazi white supremacist hate watching Zach. And as soon as I, a black man, say I'm an Israelite, he immediately goes into the comment section, slamming, I don't know, the keyboard or his phone, typing in "We was kangs and shit," because he's pressed at me acknowledging black history. He's pressed at me acknowledging anything that isn't trying to say that blacks are subhuman, blacks are low IQ, anything outside of that. We, the Israelites, and the black history and the achievement of the Israelites, that doesn't go with his ideology. That doesn't go with his coping mechanism. So he had to, you know, crash out and spam "We was kangs and shit" in the comment section. Hate watching Zach shit. And as soon as a black person says some shit about we the Israelites, he's crashing out. Very strange. And it's funny because in this ritual I just showed you, you see the numbers linking to the Israelites, because they do this a lot in black history. If you pay attention, they like to subliminally show real history, and that is black people, the black Americans are descendants of the ancient Israelites. So I just find that funny. That's kind of the recollection to that kind of came to me, right? With these individuals, man, these individuals that want to discredit this work, a lot of them want to discredit it because they are white supremacists. And they want to blame the little hats because it clings to their ideology. That's the real reason, for those of y'all that didn't know. But like I said, another ritual on the world stage. You know, Jesse Jackson, whether he's, let me not say it. Rest in peace to Jesse Jackson. You know, another ritual on the world stage. That's all I got to say for this video, man. I'm out.